Morehead sits nestled among the foothills and tall pines of eastern Kentucky. The lifestyle is relaxed, and the hustle and bustle of the big city is many miles away. But for a few hours on November 21st, 2003, that peaceful tranquility would be replaced by confusion and fear. A strange event would grip this Kentucky town. A University of Kentucky psychologist, along with his two sons, were driving home near Adams Lane.
What is that?
They saw a bright light in the northwestern sky. The soundless aerial object hovered over a nearby open field, and a sense of apprehension was upon the professor and his sons.
What is that?
This gentleman lives way up on a hill, very wooded, very isolated, and I could see where there would be few witnesses to this. I believe, and this is just my belief, I believe that the witnesses that we interviewed in this particular case are all credible.
The UK professor and his sons ran indoors, with some concern, making their way to the second-story window where they continued to watch this object.
Of course, Kenny Young made the first contact with the first witness, and I kept digging until I found a second witness who lived right down the road. And the second witness described something very similar. She said her and her daughter were out putting up Christmas tree lights, and she said they turned around and they saw this object, and it was popping up and going down. She said it was a light, and she said it reminded her of popcorn, going up and coming down. Her daughter became very frightened, and she told her to go in the house. This object came down. It turned several colors from orange to red, and as it touched the ground, this is when the dog went wild and started barking like crazy.
As the object seemed to touch down near Adams Lane, animals in the neighborhood erupted into a mad frenzy. Suddenly, the object shot off like a dart and disappeared into the western skies. Immediately after the object departed, blood-curdling screams could be heard in the night.
God, please, somebody help me! Help me! Oh, God, somebody please help me! Help me! Oh, God, please, somebody help me!
One person on nearby Skaggs Road heard the screams and called the police.
Morehead 911.
Yeah, I live at 472 Skaggs Road, and there's a big giant field back behind my house, and I could swear I heard somebody screaming back there,
Okay.
and it sounded like they were struggling, and it was backed up the hill, like if you're looking at the hill off of Skaggs Road, it was back up to the left.
So, okay, you're at 472 Skaggs Road. If they're standing in front of your residence, where is it at?
If they're standing in front looking at my house, it's back up to the left.
Back
Adams
to the left?
Road, yeah, Adams Road's right there too. It sounded like it was coming up there from there off of Adams Road.
You think it's like in the area of Adams Road?
Yeah.
And it sounds like a female struggling?
I swear it sounded that my dog started barking. I walked outside. I got my spotlight out, and I couldn't see anybody in the field.
Soon afterwards, the field where the screams emanated was crawling with police, fire and rescue searchers.
We got a direct call in as female subject screaming for help.
Thermal imaging was used to try to locate the woman, but nothing was found, and the search was called off.
He said that it sounded like the most horrifying, blood-curdling scream that he had ever heard. It sounded like somebody was being ripped apart, just totally ripped apart. There has to be some connection. You know, over the years, there's been people talked about abductions and being abducted, and of course I've read about things in books, but I never experienced it firsthand as far as being able to talk to somebody who actually heard this. And I would say yes. It's not common. It's not a very common thing. You don't hear these type of reports of somebody screaming blood-curdling screams and a UFO being spotted at the exact same time. It sounds like somebody was hurt. So, you know, I think about it often. I think about, is that lady, is she alive? Is she in Morehead? Is she from somewhere else? Is she still around? Does she remember what happened later? And she's saying, you know, what happened to me, and can I tell anybody?
The Morehead, Kentucky case will remain a curious and puzzling episode without firm resolution. An unidentified flying object was observed, and from the same location in the field, desperate and blood-curdling screams were heard in the night. A police search yielded no answers. Lives have been affected, and disturbing questions have been raised. We have no real answers to the strange events in Morehead, Kentucky, in November of 2003.